everybody. Thank you for all attending. I'll read a statement and then I'll be open to questions, and so will McGregor Ross if he wishes to take some as well. So I'm going to read this first. All right. So this morning we've called this press conference because I'm absolutely heartbroken to hear that the organisers of Ironfest have decided not to hold the event this year. The Council have been actively working with Ironfest organisers to assist them to deliver the event this year, including providing $20,000 for the event through this year's budget. I have supported Ironfest for many years and know the attachment that many in the community have to this event. Although Council's $20,000 worth of sponsorship offer was declined, Council will continue to work with the organisers of Ironfest with an aim to have the event delivered again in coming years. Lithgow City Council is committed to establishing a vibrant and sustainable range of events across the local government area, and is continuing to work with existing and new event organisers to achieve this. So that's my statement. McGregor, did you want to say anything?
Yeah. Look, post-COVID, or even before COVID, you have to be really lucky over a long period of time to get an event up. So many things could go wrong. This year, after last year's amazing success, we didn't have things go wrong personally. I had a health issue that dealt me out of the picture for about 6 months. So all the work that should have gone into dotting the I's and crossing the T's didn't get done. In fact, I wasn't sure that I was ever going to get back, but I did in January. But making something like Ironfest happen was going to be a long shot, I have to say. Funnily enough, the success that we had last year meant that our preparation this year was going to be having to be a lot bigger and a lot better. And so obviously we're talking a lot more money. We didn't get there, and I got to the point where we're 11 weeks out and we weren't making any progress, and we had to call it one day. And the one thing that makes me, or worrying me, were people talking about booking accommodation, and I didn't want to be responsible for people making bookings when I didn't think we were all year that we weren't going to get up. So last year's success makes me think that, or I know that Ironfest has a lot of support on all levels. Through my interaction with Council, I'm aware that Council is 100% behind. We had the venue foundation people behind us, and we had all the Ironfest participants and the audience. So I'm very confident that next year, with a good 12 months, 14 months time frame, that it will be a success. However, there is one challenge, and that will have to be without me. I'm stepping down. I've taken this and last year's health issues as a sign that I should be stepping down. My concern will be to try and find somebody to pick it up. So that's it.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions? Yes.
I've got one for the Mayor.
Yes.
So obviously the timing of this is interesting because, you know, it was last week or the week before we found out that Beaglesfest was moving. What actions are the Council taking to encourage further events? Because I understand this is probably another blow for the locals in terms of looking forward to events. Thanks, McGregor, by the way, for everything you've done.
So Council is putting together an event strategy, and that'll be coming to Council in the next couple of months, either this Council meeting or the following Council meeting. We've already had people come forward with proposals, and so moving forward we will have events. So I am disappointed, well, more than disappointed. As I said, I'm heartbroken that Ironfest has decided to do what it's decided to do, but that's a decision for McGregor Ross. But as for the Council, yes, we will be moving forward with our event strategy.
those two major events that aren't going ahead this year. I mean, this must have an impact on the economy here in Lithgow this year.
It does have an impact on the economy, that's why the press conference was called. As I've already stated, an event strategy will be coming forward, so we are hopeful for the future.
This event strategy that you've referred to, I just want to zero in on the budgets. $20,000 seems to be the going rate for an event in Lithgow nowadays. Is budget the issue? Is $20,000 not enough to sustain events like Ironfest, like Ironfest?
I think the budget is set according to what we believe it should be set to.
And do you still believe it should be set at $20,000, or should council step up small?
I think council can review that. I think council can review how much money we can provide. But it's also up to the organisers to provide a proposal, and then we work through the proposal with those organisers.
Can I just ask you, was this decision purely a personal one, or did this, if you had have been able to receive more money from council or had more interest from artists, would have it still gone ahead?
No, I think council's contribution. Council, I mean, I don't see the council has responsibility for bankrolling the whole event. I've got to say that. The thing that we learned from COVID was that events have to be managed very differently. I mean, everybody in the old days used to use the money from stalls and pre-sold ticketing to keep the festival rolling and keep the whole organisation going forward. Now, that resulted in, when COVID hit us 4 weeks out, and we had to pay all the ticketing money back and all the stall money back, and we spent that getting to that 4-week period to try, to pay on those expenses. So about 80% of our expenses are pre-event. Now, the way I'm wanting to work, and I think anyone in events, you want to have all the money for next year's event come out of this year's event. So you need to be a year ahead to avoid that issue. And people say, oh, what are the chances of it? We've always said for 20 years, there's no chance that we're going to be cancelled. And then COVID shows we were wrong. So I think events in general are in trouble. I think they're in trouble everywhere. And I can't imagine councils everywhere or anywhere wanting to take the whole risk, or even a major amount of the risk. So there are some issues there. I mean, I saw if we could get the corporate sponsorship required, and I didn't think we were needing too much, we could go ahead. I'd factored in 20 grand from council, but I also factored in 20, 30, 40 from industry and corporate sponsorship, and that didn't come through.
So do you think there is a lack of people wanting to invest in Lithgow at the moment?
Sorry, can you say that?
Do you think there is a lack of industry wanting to invest in Lithgow at the moment?
No more than, look, we've always found it very hard to raise sponsorship in Lithgow, because we sort of fall out of, we fall in the middle of the category. We're not a Sydney area, and we're not a country area. So we sort of fall in this little group. So things like people like Telstra, Australia Post, they quite often put out prospectus saying that they've got money available, and when we apply, they went, well, you don't fit in. You're not country, you're not city. So Lithgow is in a difficult position as far as that goes with events. So really, a lot of the heavy lifting does fall on council traditionally. So I don't know where that will lead people in the future. Like I say, events are in trouble everywhere.
But not in parks, not in Tamworth. ABBA festivals, Elvis Presley festivals, country music festivals, festivals in Katoomba. I don't think it's true to say that festivals are in trouble everywhere.
Well,
especially since you've just made those remarks
well,
about
I'd say Katoomba, the Winter Magic Festival, is that the one you mean?
For example.
Yeah, well, my understanding is in trouble. And I think that's one example. But there are, of course, there are festivals that have got backers with deep pockets, such as the Abbott, and I think they're run by council, and I think that they've got you know, the corporate side, the commercialisation of that whole event sorted. I don't know how they got through COVID, but I mean, the reason why we went belly up Ironfest Inc. was we didn't have a large auspicing body that could take the loss that we took. So that was why we failed. So, I mean, yeah, I think, and there's a certain size that you get where they've got critical mass, and so they're much more resilient. Whereas we were almost there, but we just lacked the auspicing body with deep pockets.
Did you guys make any profit last year? Because after the event happened, you guys sort of said that it was quite successful.
It was a free event, so there was no ticketing came in, and it was basically cost neutral at the end. I mean, I think through some of our costs were covered by corporate interests or commercial interests. So it was not run as an Ironfest event, it was run as a Kelly Evans event. So yeah, no, it was a break even.
And what was your reaction to Beatles Fest moving to Bathurst? Because last year when you were a councillor, you actually voted against it.
I'll be giving my thoughts on Beetlefest at the next council meeting when the report comes forward.
So you have no opinion on it?
Not at this stage. When the report comes forward at the end of the council meeting, I'll give my thoughts then.
McGregor, how does it feel to have to step back? I mean, you know, you've been there since Ironfest inception. You created it. It must be sort of a heavy feeling for you.
Okay, one of the biggest disappointments about Ironfest not going ahead is a personal one, and it goes to how Ironfest started. And basically Ironfest started because I'm a metal artist, or I was, well no, I'm a metal artist again. For a little while there I was an administrator, and before that I was a metal artist. So when we arrived in Lithgow in '97, a bit of a history lesson, I was travelling around with my partner at the time to all the different festivals, having stalls and selling my metal art. And it's very tiring, so I thought one day it'd be great if everybody could come to me. Ding! The festival was born, the idea. So it got to the point where I wasn't able to do any metal work because I'm totally busy doing the festival. But during COVID, I got back into the metalwork and I realised how much I really loved it. And I realised how it was like my reason for being. And so I thought that was it. And then of course, like last year, went and did something crazy like have a festival just to see how good it was going to be. And it was absolutely amazing. So suddenly I'm looking at that again. But at the same time, I'm making metal art and I'm excited to say I'm making a chess set. And so why I'm disappointed is that I won't have Ironfest to exhibit it. So that's my main thing. But I do see that as my next stage in life, as to pursue a career as an artist.
Yeah. And what hopes do you have for the festival as you take a step back?
Okay. Look, I mean, I have found it impossible to believe that Ironfest won't continue. You can just see, well, you saw yourself last year, the people that were involved and the people that came. So I think it will go ahead. There are major challenges, as I've said. So I suppose I am just optimistic and I am quite happy to help along the way. So fingers crossed.
Question for the Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
This is, last week's headlines is, Beatles Fest. This week's headline, or tomorrow's headline is going to be Ironfest. How do you anticipate this being received by the Lithgow public? About the optics of it?
I think the Lithgow public will be concerned. I think the Lithgow public will clearly have questions, and I'm happy to answer those. I think going forward, we need to give them a message of hope that it's, Ironfest at the moment is not going ahead, but we do have some hope for the future, and we'll work with the organisers in regards to that. As I said, the event strategy will come forward, and I hope that the community embraces it.
Who's behind the organising committee of that strategy?
So there's an organising group that come together with council, an event strategy group that come together. It's a mixture of councillors and staff, and they're working on the event strategy. Once that's put together, that will actually come to the elected council to be debated. We'll go from there.
Would you say this event strategy is quite urgent given the recent events that are cancelled?
That's why we're working really hard on it at the moment.
Any idea of when that might be announced? Do you know how close you to unveiling something?
My understanding it'll be the March meeting, so it'll be coming forward to the March meeting, so they're working really hard on it at the moment. I think that's it. All right, thank you for all coming.
Thank you.
Good job.